Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Barbara. It's a pleasure to have you here in this live transmission sharing about the heart. Just a very small topic, not very much importance to it, right? Welcome, Barbara. Just for the ones that don't know Barbara. Barbara is an amazing being that I had the pleasure, the honor to meet, because actually it was mostly a encounter in Sedona in Rise of the Guardians in March. So ever since we have turned into our field, it has been this beautiful connection, soul connection, soul-star connection. And she has very, very, very important and interesting information related to the heart coherence, HeartMath, all this inner wisdom that sometimes, regardless, despite this is such an inherent element and within us, like the heart is, it is kind of difficult. It can get kind of difficult to connect, to communicate with our heart. So therefore, there are very specific tools. And yeah, let's hear what Barbara can share with us about that, what we will be sharing in this transmission. And so yeah, again, thank you, Barbara.
Oh, thank you so much for the invitation, YssaH. I know when we first met or reconnected, it's like, okay, there's someone that I've danced before with. Cosmos. I'm like, okay, let's play. So thank you for the invitation. And yes, it's, the whole HeartMath and heart coherence is very near and dear to my heart. And I'm going to share a disclaimer that I always have to share. I'm not speaking on behalf of the HeartMath Institute. I'm speaking on behalf of me and my personal experiences. I am a senior trainer with them, and I get to train trainers in helping people to reconnect with their hearts. And so that was, I guess that was my journey. I was disconnected from my heart for many years. And I think it was just trained out of me. I was in the military. My background is in cardiac nursing. So I worked intensive care and just, much more in the brain than in the heart. And even though I studied the heart and I knew all the anatomy and all the physiology and the electrophysiology, I had no idea that it was the source of information and wisdom and the blueprint. So it's been a journey, and still is, to get to reconnect with my heart. Use it as a portal and as a vortex for connecting with information that is always there, but I didn't realize it was. So it's been interesting.
I can imagine. So it is a very interesting story, actually, being in the military and like unconsciously being drawn into the heart, as you were saying. So when was the moment that you came into awareness that it was more about focusing in the heart, not to diminish the brain, of course, because it is, as how I perceive it, is equally important, yet the order in the
Yes,
elements is different,
for sure.
which
For
brings us to
sure. We are so brain centric, I think, in this world, and it's good. And you're right. I mean, I love my mind and my intellect and all the fun things and the strategy and all. And it's what's leading. If the heart is not engaged, if it's not involved in decision making or in processing or perception, it can be really skewed. Like the information that comes through may be based on history, maybe based on old stuff and old patterns, and we loop in some of these things. And what I found is when I drop into the heart and I get quiet, now different information comes in, or different layers and nuances come in. So it's curious. And I think I've always had that the disconnection, but when I've really found the aha moment, I think, was when I was actually at the Mayo Clinic here in Phoenix, Arizona, and I was invited to be a part of a pilot study, and it was for nursing leaders and resilience and agility and stress management was kind of the pilot study. And I had no clue. I just sat there rolling my eyes the whole time going, this is ridiculous. I can't even believe that they're spending all this money on teaching us these breathing techniques, because that's really the first steps are breathing techniques, yes, but they're heart-based. And so I didn't get it until I went to the HeartMath Institute, became a trainer, and it was on our last day. And for those 5 days, we were doing these really immersive heart coherence practices and really dropping in the heart and experiencing these feelings. I'm like, I don't know what you want me to feel. I'm not used to feeling anything. This is so weird. And finally, the 5th day, my heart cracked open, and I really felt the warmth, and I felt these tears came to my eyes. And one of my mentors there, she says, "What's happening for you?" I said, "I don't know, but I think I'm going to be working with you guys." And it was just that connection of, wow, you can intentionally drop into the heart and rewire and reconnect that. And then I became more aligned with mission. I became more aligned with why am I really here? And never in my wildest dreams would I have thought it would come through my heart. I always thought it was going to come through my brain.
Yeah, because that's what they teach us, like think wise or think thoroughly what you want to do, to get it right. And it's more thinking and less feeling, because feeling gets you in trouble. So why do you want to get in trouble? Better keep it safe and simple, and for me, when talking about warrior and heart, because we are in a reality that we have also constantly been educated that the more that we defend our interests, the stronger that we are, and the more capable that we are to survive in this reality. And the thing is that for me, from my experience, it's not about defending how they teach, because defense is actually coming into that heart coherence, and therefore you're creating the energy around you that is going to be aligned, because even in terms of and the fundamentals of the universe, the strongest force is the one that is actually creating more coherence. So for instance, if you're go into discipline, and you're like a super like very aware of self-defense, and training every muscle and just going fully forward and fitting in all align, like everything that you're doing in alignment to that, you're going to master it.
Yes.
So also if you apply that for the heart, and as I was listening to you, I remembered one phrase that I always like to share it, because I was climbing to the window of heaven in Mexico. And this is a place that is very related to Quetzalcoatl, like the feathers, the green feathers that you have behind, very kind of, it's that same color, the Quetzalcoatl. So the Quetzal. So as I was climbing, it was not an easy quest, like it was kind of, difficult if you don't climb often. So as I was passing by, I saw two rocks that immediately I felt their field, and I said, "Oh, these are the guardians of the place." You know, like the head chiefs, let's say. So then I turned to my side, and I saw these rocks with the shape of humanoids, and with a branch in both of them coming out of what would be their mouth as a serpent, a bifid tongue. So I started communicating with them, and then they told me, one of them, the one on my left, told me the strength of the warrior resides in the temperance of its heart. And that's when and that's when I said, it's about shifting the archetype of the warrior, shifting the main tool, which is the heart. And when we truly understand what heart coherence is, then we know that the core to manipulate, to shape our reality is not outside with the tools outside, is within.
Yeah. Yeah. It's huge what you're saying is this whole focus on external and what the outside is doing and what things are happening to me and all that, with the idea that we don't have to be the victim of our circumstances. We can tap into that heart field and we get to program it on demand, on purpose. That's really the whole idea of what the HeartMath practices are, is to, when I'm working with clients or working with groups and workshops and things like that, it's determining where are you now, identifying, what is my state? Is it anxiety? Is it whatever, doubt? It could be anything. And then choosing to, on demand, take that slow, deep breath in, focus on the heart. You're kind of activating that heart center. And then you get to choose what you want to feel. And it could be things like love and peace and joy and calm, all those yummy things. And there's also the ability, to your point about the warrior, the confidence, the bravery, the loyalty, the integrity, the sovereignty, and to be willing to just step into that. So we get to choose much more than I was ever taught. I thought things happen to me and I react to them. But the idea that we can actually respond and choose intentionally how we show up, not just for ourselves, but for others, is really, really powerful. So what you're saying is, like, how do we manage and navigate that heart field and influence it? It's powerful.
Yes, it is. It is. And I would love to, for instance, what is for you heart coherence? If we say more than a concept, but what is for you heart coherence?
Yeah. So to me, I think the definition of any type of coherence, as we teach it in the training, is it's a synchronization. It's an alignment. It's an energetic coordination. And the definition of that is, where everything is working together. So for me, I would think the heart, the mind, the emotions are working together. And so, because if you think about the term in terms of stress, if there's a lot of stress, sometimes our heart is telling us one thing, our mind is telling us something different, and we have that internal struggle. So it could even be inside, we're creating all these stress loops and things like that. So to me, heart coherence, the idea that the heart sends much more information to the brain than the brain sends to the heart, that was shocking to me. I never learned that in nursing school or anywhere, that actually 80 to 90% of the information between these two is going upward. And the ability to really focus and influence our heart rhythms, now that affects the brain. And now the brain comes into a state of alignment or coherence, and we're on the same wavelength, basically. So to me, being in a heart coherent state is focusing on the heart, taking that slow, deep breath in and out, and then activating some type of emotion. And that brings the body into a state of alignment, coordination, and also produces very interesting biochemicals that support us. So things like DHEA, which is a vitality hormone. So the more coherence we have and the more coherence we affect, less drag, less drain, more energy left over in our inner battery. So to me, it was really about efficiency first. I wanted to have more energy. I wanted to sleep better. I wanted to really be aligned. And so just that basis, or the basics of it, is just simplicity. How do I navigate life without losing my mind and being mean to people, being mean to myself, and just going always like frustrated, and all this stuff is happening. Well, Barb, you can calm down, take a breath, facilitate heart coherence, and before you know it, that heart beats out a very different rhythm. And now I'm different. The world around me looks different. The people around me look different. So it's like a Jedi skill set. When I learned that, I'm like, this is what I'm talking about.
I love it. You know, now that you are that we are talking about the relation in between the brain and the heart, there is something that I love that is, you know, like the brain, the heart brain, and the gut brain, you know, and how they relate to one another, like depending from which level are we perceiving reality, like through the neurons in our gut, through the mirror, through the neurons in our heart, or through the neurons in our brain. And as you said, the first ones to receive the information are the ones in the heart. Yeah. However, the field that is more empowered is the one that is going to be to suck in the information. And I don't know what you think about this, but I do feel that most of this, like the reality that we see through that simulation, was programmed, was encoded to constantly be stimulating the gut brain. Mm-hmm. So any information that our heart receives is very much taken, you know, like by the neurons, like transmitted, like magnetized by the neurons in our gut brain, and therefore generating emotions that can be very visceral, you know?
Yeah.
And so with the brain.
Yeah, I think it is interesting because people do ask us those questions about the gut brain, and we really focus so much on the heart and the brain, but in the brain. But of course, it's all connected when you think about, you know, what the gut does. It processes information, not just food, but processes information and emotions. And we know, I mean, as a nurse, you work with people who are anxious or have some type of stress response. They're going to have issues with their gut. They're going to have inflammation and things like that. So it's so interconnected. And the immune system, same thing. You know, there was a really interesting study because we talk a lot about the gut in terms of the immune response, but there was a study that was done a way back, which I just shared the other day with some folks, but it's if you spend 5 minutes experiencing anger, there was a study that said there's an increase in the IgA, which is a neuro or an immunomodulator, so it bumps up your immune system. So we want a high IgA. Well, 5 minutes of anger suppresses that immune system for the next 6 hours. 5 minutes. And conversely, if you feel care or if you feel appreciation or some of these other emotions that are really better for us, it increases the immune system and the immune response. So if a lot of the immune system is in the gut as well, it does make sense that what we're feeling can and how we can choose what we're feeling and what we're thinking can really affect the gut brain as well, and the immune system and the all the cells.
Yeah, wow, thank you for sharing this, because you know, it's also like the mitochondria, the biggest amount of mitochondria that we have, it's actually there. You know, this is why it can be like a double coin, whether you use all those emotions to alchemize them and then empower the whole energy in your body, you know, by deriving there back to the heart and then expanding. I would love for you to share more about that in a bit. But yeah, you know, like it's like, as we weren't taught the connection in between these pillars, is like, okay, you feel emotions, now how are you going to deal with it, you know? And then people keep on chewing those emotions for a while, then their immune system dropping, and then, you know, like symptoms, you know, then having a stomach ache, or even worse, you know, like something worse, something chronic, you know. And the thing is that just by knowing how, well, not just by that, but when we know the importance in each one of them, how they connect, and mostly the core of it, you know, which in this case, I see it as the heart, because it's the one that creates, it's capable or enables us to create our plasma body, to activate our plasma body, to go back to the heart, to your center, to actually be very intuitive, to be capable to master all your skills and coming from a righteous space, not egoic, not lacking, not visceral, like that space that actually is the wholeness, is the singularity.
It's all of it. It's so exciting to even think about this, because again, it's nothing that we're taught. I mean, I think it's when we have the metaphors in society. So we would say, I love you with all my heart, or, we point to ourselves and we would point to that core of who we are. It's innately in us, but how it's been so forgotten over years is just amazing. Because like you're saying, even about like it sends the loudest signal in the body. I mean, there's studies that show that at least 3 feet outside the body, yes, there's electrical signal in the heart, and there's a magnetic signal that's also sent out that can be measured 3 feet outside the body. And is it beyond that? Of course, but the equipment right now that we have can only measure it 3 feet outside the body. But even that, it can go through walls, it can penetrate. It's amazing. And to be able to tap into that and to harness that and to unleash that and to do it on purpose. I mean, to your point, it's just the idea of intuition, when we can just hush this long enough. What I found, because this was very active and still is every now and again. I mean, the world is what it is, but the ability to just say, whoa, if I have an issue or I want to get more creative or I want to be more innovative, I've got to zip it and just tune into my heart and ask the question. Sometimes the question is, what does my heart want me to know? And it comes through with just a very quiet, direct insight that my brain can go on and go, yeah, but, and oh no, and this, the heart's just going to give you something very quick, very precise and perfect from I call it my divine entourage, because I feel like I have a whole team with me that is just giving me information. But I learned many years ago, it's like, you've got to shush so we can talk to you and you can hear us. Like,
yes, because if we say that all of here is just perception, that's where relativism has come to, perhaps on a extreme extent, but when it comes to everything is perception, what we are perceiving of our reality, if we don't come from here, then it's just based on the programs that are present in this reality. If we go through here, then we will go into higher densities, that then when what we are perceiving is not a product of this simulation, it's actually coming from higher truths. Yeah. So as you said, normally when we refer to everything is mind, equal, everything is brain. For me, mind is consciousness. And everything is consciousness. That's why if we read the Kybalion, it says everything is mind. It's just another way for me to refer to consciousness. Now, consciousness, it's just not just present in the brain. Actually, consciousness is everything. And I do feel that each organ has its own consciousness. Mm-hmm. And when you tune into the consciousness of your heart, is being at home.
Yes. Yeah.
And one of the things about what I love about the heart, which are many, is that our heart is the first thing that is generated in our body. When us as a fetus, we are, developing our body. And it's also the last thing. So it's what brings you into this reality and what allows you to exit this, the body, to say it somehow. And that gives us a hint of how important is the heart at a biological level, to say it somehow. Now, you were speaking at an energetic level. What would you say for the people that want to, to really connect with their hearts, and not just as an organ, yet as this huge vortex, this immense vortex.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Issa, I think it's different for each person. And it's interesting to not put pressure on, because sometimes if we try too hard, or there might be a loss or a fear around, maybe there's been a heartbreak, maybe there's been a betrayal, maybe there's like, oh, if I go to my heart, I don't know what's going to happen. I hear this a lot with my clients. They're like, oh no, I'm just going to cry and it's going to be sad. Or maybe there's a grief that's been unattended to. So it's being very cautious with that. So I like to just kind of say compassion and grace, and just dropping in and just saying, if you were not familiar with the heart space, which I wasn't, even putting a hand on the heart and just tuning in and thinking, wow, some of us even have trouble with appreciation. We talk a lot about self-appreciation and self-love and self-care. That may not be easy for some of us. And so the ability just to say, well, appreciate your heart for what it does. It beats 70 sometimes a minute.
Was that me?
It's not plugged in. There's no battery to say, wow, that is so awesome. So to give appreciation to the heart itself as a physical organ. And once we start to make friends with it and really start to connect, that will almost come innately. But to me, the state of appreciation, more so sometimes than love, because love can have that twist to it. It's like, ooh, I don't like that word, is what I hear from a lot of my clients. Then use appreciation, use gratitude, use compassion, whatever gets you into the heart. And all of a sudden you just keep breathing and keep dropping in. It's almost like a softening that we come into the heart. And once we get into that place, that's when I first notice is there's a warmth, there's a tingle. It's almost like a recognition where your heart's going, okay, we're online now together. And that becomes that beautiful journey when we can imagine expanding that energetic. It's almost like I sometimes see a flame in my heart and that ignition switch, and it accelerates and it amplifies and it expands. So to me, it could be a visual type of practice. It could also be just simply music. It could be, there's a lot of things that we can use to really tap into the heart. But for me, most importantly, hands on the heart, closing the eyes so we don't have the external. Sometimes we do use the sensor in training so we can see the visual of the coherence, because the more deeply we drop into the heart, the higher those numbers go. So if we really want to see the metrics of that, once you get into these numbers that are 6s and 7s and 10, 11, higher than that, you're in a very coherent state. And what that means is you're producing very different frequencies from your heart. And that can take us, from my experience, to higher levels of consciousness, higher levels of different densities, and you're tapping into stuff that I never thought you could, because it's this plane for sure.
Yeah. Now that you're saying about the frequency, that the subtle, the space that we are coming and feeling within our heart, the higher the numbers, because that's the singularity, like when you are bringing two forces, let's say from our own toroidal field, we have the entrance and we have the exit. It's the same fundamentals as a wormhole or as a black hole. So you have the energy both coming in, because it's not just in and out. There is from both sides energy coming in and out. So when they both meet, you might say, wow, when they meet, it's going to be like this big bang, like this, these forces colliding. And no, actually what they are doing is generating a void, because there is so much magnetism that they get to create a void and then entangled and become one, and then reorder. And it also but in that space of that void is that spaciousness. It's full of information. It's full of energy. As you said, the numbers are very high. However, the level of frequency that you get to perceive is there is so much space for you to expand through, that you don't have compressed your energy, and therefore your field, like this electric force, bam, bam. No, it's everything so expanded, that gives us that feeling of, and it reminds me, I don't know if you have heard about the Tibetan monks, that they have been doing like brain scans, that when they are going through this huge, deep process of meditation, that their heart even seems like it stops beating.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they go into that lambda state, you know, that it's barely perceivable.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's interesting. I have read something in one of the HeartMath books. I want to say it's something, and this could be completely wrong, but it's something called quiescence, where it's some type of state where there is exactly that, what you're saying. And it's funny because there was a study that was also shared about people that were doing Zen monks were learning how to meditate, and they actually did a study with focusing on the heart. And exactly what you're saying is when you focus on that heart, anytime we place our attention anywhere in the body, we create a physiological change in that area. So the heart is like the catalyst. It's the fast track for meditation. And so it's this beautiful state of just, quietness, stillness, like what you're saying, that to me, it's like spaciousness where you're just in a whole different state. And that is so helpful to practice these techniques behind the scenes, because once you wire that in to your physiology, you can kind of walk through, it becomes your state. There's just some people that are just so calm and composed, and they just have this beautiful field, and you're like, wow, what is this person doing? It could be that they're probably practicing and meditating and doing other practices outside of being in the world. And so I would say too, the meditation is one way to do it, and how we position our practices in terms of how are you now in your day-to-day when everything's hitting the fan. Can you access that and bring that into the moment? And that's the composure, and that's the when life is giving us opportunity to practice coherence, it's we have to practice it behind the scenes so that we can use it, access it in the moment. It's a beautiful combination.
Yeah, I agree. And you touched a very important topic, which is, like going to the Tibet or to a cave and reach those states.
Yeah.
At some point, yeah, you will go through that isolation process, and then, like detaching from people and places and so forth. Yet once you're in that space, it is easier because there is no interference, and except for the head, like the monkey head, how they refer to it. But in order to detach, you have already gone through that, like also detaching from the monkey brain.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, when we are here in this reality, and as you said, we are dealing with so many things, like even at some point nonstop, and it's part of this reality, how it was configured. Because if I say, it's like, okay, there are all these light beings in this matrix, and there is a little bit of everything, like a recipe, like cooking, I'm putting a little bit of salt and pepper, and then all the ingredients.
Yeah.
And then it's now like, okay, now what are they going to do with this? Because actually, as you know, in order to access to higher densities, we really need to embody that wholeness, to show that mastery, and mostly to sustain it.
Yes.
And one of the things that the heart is showing to us, and I do believe, I don't know, how do you feel about this, but when it comes to time, like now the time zones and the daylight saving, and like other factors, now you have a 30 days month, now you have a 31, and so forth. All those things are not aligned to the heart, are not coherent to the heart. Yet the heart, it does so majestically that it tries to adapt to whatever the DJ is playing.
Yep.
But don't you think, like with all these tests that you do with the wavelength and so forth, coming from the heart, that at some point, if time would be in alignment, like the cycles, us connected more to the equinoxes, to the solstice, like in the ancient times,
Yeah.
and not to, for instance, a calendar that is nonsense. Do you think from your experience that you would see that syncing to the cosmic clock would actually enable a higher potency of connection of our heart to who we truly are?
It's a fascinating thought. And what you're saying is how we are so out of sync with, these artificial constructs of time. And it's curious because it made me think as you were saying that there is a way that, and again, Dr. Roland McCready is our director of research. So I get a chance to work with him and hear him respond to a lot of these questions. So I don't want to misspeak, but the idea around the frequency, time versus frequency, because I know we can measure heart rate variability either way. We can measure it on a time scale, or we can look at the frequency distribution. And so as I understand it, there is a way that we can, when we get into a heart coherent state and we have a certain rhythm that we drop into, usually the breath cycle might be 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, which creates a 10-second cycle. So within 1 minute, we're breathing 6 times. So it's that type of pace. For some people it's slower, some people it's faster. But what that facilitates is it's called cardiac coherent, I think it's resonant frequency. It's a 0.1 hertz. And that 0.1 hertz, that when we're doing these breathing techniques, corresponds with the Earth's frequency, which is 0.1 hertz. So now we're in alignment on a frequency level with the pulse and the heartbeat of the Earth. And my guess, we don't really talk about it that much, but I think about what I've seen is, well, the cosmos also has a heartbeat. And if I can facilitate that, I'm grounded in the Earth's heartbeat. And I also am aligned with the cosmic heartbeat through my portal. Now we're in that same alignment. So I'm in a flow, regardless of what's happening around me. I'm connected with source. I'm connected with cosmos. I'm connected with the Earth. So, and we are the grounding wire. We're like that lightning rod, or that stabilizer that brings heaven to earth through the heart.
Now that you mention of that, that axis that stabilizes, the first thing that I thought of is, well, the two things is that how we see these Egyptian symbols, because I know that you're also very much into essences, that I would love for you to share a little bit about that as well. When we're talking about all these Egyptian symbols, and then now they say that it's very much related to Tesla engineering, not Elon Musk's yet, like Nikola Tesla engineering. And that our heart can replicate that length of energy, that potency of energy. And when the thing that stabilizes the Earth's magnetic field is actually the plasma. And when we are talking about the plasma, then again, our heart is capable to generate that charge collapse in 9 levels that enables, like the expansion of our plasma body, not coming from the plasma in our blood. We're talking about precisely this etheric plasma, and which brings me to, I remember that you were talking in you were giving your talk in the conference in Rise of the Guardians, and you mentioned that in order to extract the oils, they needed to, well, actually they saw it as extracting the essence, right? Something that I think she froze. a little bit?
We
Or is
have freezing.
yeah,
We're back.
okay. Okay.
Oh, it's been glitchy. Technology has been so hysterical lately, but it is what it is. But yeah, so it's something that and it's funny because I know little bits and pieces about this, what streams into me. So as I was going through my program for this graduate program for aromatherapy, which I wanted to learn a little bit more about essential oils and the soul of the plant. That's really what I learned. And what I got when I did my meditation, I was sitting in my pyramid, one of the Team Light pyramids, and I got this person was in front of me, and I said, "Well, who are you?" Freaking me out. And he says, "No, I'm Paracelsus." And it's like, okay, he's an alchemist from the 1400s, and he talked a little bit about something called quintessence, which I knew nothing about at that time. But it gave me the idea of when we were blending certain oils. So I would sometimes say, okay, so we have a blend of maybe 4 different things. So maybe frankincense and orange and maybe peppermint and lemon, let's just say. So in my head, in my mind, I would say, we're just going to put so many drops of this and this, but I was stopped and they said, no, frankincense molecules want to talk to orange for 24 hours. And it's like they want to, communicate with each other because their frequencies are similar. And then you can add the others. Well, to me, I thought this was going to be a really easy process. I'm like, well, this is going to take forever because they're chatting with each other. But now I'm thinking, well, how do people blend things? But this is how it was back in the day, was knowing that the molecules of this and the chemical structure and the soul of the plant, it is on an energetic basis. It's not just the physical. And does it affect physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual? Of course. But there's that essence, there's that invisible, unseen connection where they connect together. And that's really what facilitates, for me, heart coherence, optimization of the physiology and the cellular communication. It's way beyond. And I'm still like learning and exploring this to go, wow, there is so much more than I even realized. And I've been blending oils for 2 decades, kind of for fun. And then for the last 5 years, seriously. And now it's a next level of the spirit and the cosmic elements that are coming through these plants. It's just, nature's awesome. It's amazing.
Yes, it is fascinating. And I truly love the way that you explain it, because that's how I perceive reality. When we are aware that everything is consciousness, and in every interaction it's involved energetic exchange. We can call it feedback, back and forward. So it's not about just putting plants together, like doing the process. That oil is going to be way different than the one that is actually nourished with that consciousness, like knowing that the plants, there was even a study that there were 2 plants put together, and a guy came and started yelling at one. They put like sensors to both of them. Well, actually to one of them. So the one that they didn't put the sensors to, they start like came forward to it, and then started like really killing it, and the other plant that had the sensors was emitting the frequency of fear.
Yeah.
And then that man went out of the room and then left, like minutes pass by, and slowly the plant started to generate like a more calm frequency. But then again, the same man came back into the room, and immediately the plant started to emit fear frequency again, and then went out of the room, and then the plant started to stabilize. And then another man came into the room that was not that one, the first one, and the plant was stable. Wow. So we are not aware of how profound the level of consciousness in between us beings interacting with one another is. And I do believe this is part of the richness of the shamans and all this ancient knowledge that now a lot of people call it like mumbo jumbo, and actually it was just a deep state of awareness of how the universe functions and communicating with everything, honoring everything, because it's life.
It is. And what you're saying is just, it's wild to think about that. Like, well, it's just a plant. No, everything that is energized and has soul and has essence and has spirit can be affected. And I think that's the whole idea of, again, taking charge of what are we feeding ourselves? What are we feeding the field? What are we feeding our plants? And in terms of our whole goal when we did our essential oil company was to do an intentional, purposeful. I mean, we are, Natalie and I are both Reiki masters. And so we have a pyramid, we program and we decontaminate, because we don't know who, because we source our oils from different people that are very high grade. We make sure that they're quality oils. And so with all the hands or all the people who have been maybe touching it or shipping it or do whatever, that gets embedded in the oil because everything's programmable. Yeah. So we etherically decontaminate everything and we just put them all in the pyramid and we love on them and we program them with a crystal inside that is also programmed for the highest potential for that person. So whoever receives that can activate that oil and then create what they want with it, with the highest integrity, without the other contamination and the other funny business. So that is so intentional for us. We're just so, it's an honor to serve, because every time somebody gets that oil, it is infused with love and goodness and gratitude. And so it's just, and we're seeing that people are noticing that there is a difference. Like, wow, I took the same things that you guys put into it. I did it and it's not the same. Of course it's not the same.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. I can say so because I have a lotus flower, an oil of lotus flower from you, and it's sublime. It is sublime. So yeah, in a bit, if you can also share, like where can people reach out to you for everything that you're offering. But just before that, I want to say that when beings are honored the way that you are giving the example, it's for instance, even when I eat, I always give this example. Sometimes people are eating while watching the Facebook. I myself do sometimes, like I'm watching a YouTube video or something while eating, and it's okay. The thing is that a lot of people do it without even thinking, and the stimulation that is coming through all the feed and bam, bam, or TikTok or that, all of that is being imprinted in the food. So when you get the time to bless your food, to bless the oils, besides the fact that they're already being blessed, to actually connect with the love that they have been made, honoring and thanking, for instance, the plants because they are, I am about to eat them, honoring and blessing the space, the moment that is bringing me here right now. All those things that perhaps due to the acceleration of time, that perception, precisely because of the deface that there is in between the cosmic clock and this clock, and that is middling between the cosmic clock and our biological clock. Otherwise they would be, they are synced, the cosmic and the biological one. But anyway, so then we're actually bringing all that love of frequency of love into our biology at many levels, and thank you for doing that. Thank you for putting so much love in everything that you do, because even if we read the word love backwards, it's evol, which could lead to evolution. We just need to add the ocean.
Yes.
But
It's,
Yes, so
a,
thank
it's
you.
powerful frequency. And so just watching you and learning from you and connecting with you, it is the same. It's that in the intention, and it's felt, it's palpable. I mean, it's, you know, we know when something is out of alignment with us, and we know when something is in alignment. So it's figuring out, again, discernment, what works for me, what doesn't work for me. Is it me? Is it me? Am I out of alignment? And how do I come back into alignment? And so to exactly what you're sharing is that love, that connection, that appreciation that we're, you know, we're soul tribe, and here we are helping each other get across the finish line.
Yes, yes, we are. And speaking of which, and how can people reach you to receive from this wisdom, this knowledge? What are you offering at this moment? Courses, I saw that you have a course there. Tell me.
Yeah. So I have a
Tell
couple
us.
of things that I'm working with. So on Heartful Intuitions is my Instagram handle. It's probably the easiest way where you can find everything. And the link is you know, the connection to my website, to my other, you know, the essences that we're creating. But right now I am in the middle of creating it's a multidimensional coaching program. And so it is looking at etheric, looking at the geopathic stress that maybe you're living in, the apartment, the land. So we do like energetic acupuncture on the land itself to support you. And we kind of see if there's any, you know, sometimes there's little portals and vortexes and things that are kind of open, that give us disruption or disconnection. And so they kind of destabilize us. So we work on that first. And then the next would be heart coherence. And we add some essences to really facilitate heart coherence. There are some essences that we've measured that can help us to get into the heart more quickly, reconnect, change those neural pathways. So that's part of what I'm working on. But I do have my individual sessions. If you're interested, or anybody's interested in the multidimensional coaching or working on everything's organic. I customize everything for each person. You can DM me on Instagram. Our essential oils are at codealchemy.com. And that is where we have certain chakra blends. We have different mists and candles and just different things. But we also custom blend, which has been our biggest thing lately, is we actually look at your blueprint, your astrology, your natal chart, kind of tune in energetically and have a conversation with you to say what blends would best support you. So that's been really fun, is to really work one-on-one and customize offerings.
That's beautiful. So, for instance, for someone who is interested uh, of receiving from you, what would you say are the benefits of actually applying those oils?
Well, it's funny, we've measured them with the HRV technology. We've measured them with the BioWell. And so so our chakra set is probably the biggest one, that is our most popular one, because it has all 7 chakras. And so, for example, the one that is for the root is more grounding. It has some frankincense, fir. So it really helps us to ground in, stabilize. And there's also affirmations that we offer that we would suggest for you. You can say whatever you want to your oil to activate it, but it's activating that crystal. So just an example for the root would be, I am safe, I am secure, I am protected, I trust, whatever that might feel for you. When you say those words out loud, the crystal inside the bottle is activated, and it's almost like it sparks. People have said that they actually can see the spark. I don't have that type of skill set, but they're like, wow, there's a glow in that crystal. I'm like, good for you, because I can't see that. I feel it. So, and then you would activate the second one. The second one, sacral, of course, would be, I am creative, I am nurtured, I am loved, whatever you might want to say. So those essences themselves are key, and they're keyed into those chakras to support that. And then when you activate the crystal, that's when your magic happens. So we love to hear that, where people just are using it every single day, depending on what they need. Some people use everyone every day. You get to really play with it and tune into your intuition of how to use it. But that's our most popular set, is it's all there ready for you. So.
Yeah, when I heard you talking about this, the first thing that came to me was Egypt, due to how very much in touch they are with the oils. Like everywhere you go, there is that, like the natives there, the ones that know that are in touch with the ancient knowledge, and even initiation processes and so forth. even though they are not, like into this level of consciousness, they have a huge and profound wisdom, spiritual wisdom, just perceiving it from a different level. But anyway, when every ritual that they suggest in order to align your chakras or your meridians or your energetic generators in your body, they always use oils. And even if you go to the temples, you will see oil residue everywhere, like you put your hand there and it's like, oh, there's
but think just what you're saying, thinking about the Greeks, the Romans, the Egyptians. I mean, they would bury in Egypt, as you probably know, that they would bury people with these different essential oils, frankincense, and on papyrus. There's thousands of years old that this has been known for many, many years. And to me, I think about this as a Reiki master too, and teaching students to say, yes, your energy. Do you need anything outside of yourself? However, if you want to enhance, so I think about anointing during a Reiki process, during massage therapy. I mean, it's just, it takes it to the next level where you're really doing your beautiful work. And then this just enhances that for that client. And I like to have my clients, when I work at a local spa here, is just select what oil speaks to you. And they 9 times out of 10 will pick the one, because then I measure their chakras, I get a scan, and that's exactly the one they picked. So it's really fun to see how we're so wired. We already know what we need and what would serve us. And then to be able to use that, we measure it after they apply it, give it about 20 minutes, and that chakra's aligned and it's larger. So it's fun to see the science and the spirit and the intuition coming together. It's been a fun journey so far.
Yes, it is. It is. And when you were saying about, like just touching, putting your hands at the level of the heart and how immediately you feel, like the connection, that's so true. Let me just show, I'm going to show something quickly. Okay. It's not there. But anyway, what I want to share is that because we have an artifact that is an ET mummy, so it is in the sarcophagus. Well, the lid of the sarcophagus has the ET face with all the garment, the indument Egyptian like, and then, the typical position of the arms like this.
Yeah.
And this, for me, because I have been tuning into what mummification truly, like the origin of it, what it truly is, because these beings so expanded consciously wise, it's not that they from the beginning were very attached to the body, and also the story that they were preparing their body for afterlife. There is much more about that. But in relation to the heart coherence and so forth, for me, what I have been remembering is that mummification process, as we see in some Asian cultures, like even monks, in China and in Tibet, that they go through an induced mummification process by dehydrating their body. It's like an extensive practice, just as the rainbow body, because they want to achieve a very specific level of consciousness where they detach completely from the body. So about the Egyptians, what I see is that at some point it began that way. And even the fact that they are putting themselves in this position is because it's creating, even, you see, like if we do this, it creates 2 triangles. And those 2 triangles are just converging, like meeting at the heart center.
Yeah.
But I mean, I cannot show it clearly right now because you say it's like you create a triangle from here, and then you create another triangle from here. Then it's embedded even in the numbers of Pythagoras, the theorem of Pythagoras. So then you are intercrossing in your heart, and that is amplifying the heart vortex. So imagine doing those breath exercises with this position, and knowing that your biological geometry is actually being amplified or communing with that vortex. It's beautiful, all this knowledge.
Oh, I love that. I'm just like, ooh, it's a whole nother layer of information and like remembrance. Cause I'm like, that makes it, I totally felt that when you were sharing that. I'm like, it's so, I appreciate you.
Likewise.
Yeah, just bringing that forward. Cause that's a whole nother layer of, I want to practice now. I'm going to grab my sensor, actually do this. It's like, wow, let's prove that. It's awesome. And it makes sense because these folks knew this from years ago. And there's, again, science and spirit, and a lot of it's been lost. So much of it's been lost. So I'm really glad that you're unearthing and bringing that forward into consciousness. That's so cool.
Oh, thank you. And please let me know when you do the test, when you test it, please.
Yes.
Perhaps we will be bringing on a new paper, about this and the heart and the ancient practices. Yeah, we never know.
It's been planted for sure. I love it.
Yes. Exactly. Okay, so so you have shared how people can reach you. Just to let people know that Barbara and I will be presenting on the Dallas Bridge Expo in October 18 and 19 of October. 17 and 19.
17 to 19. Yes. Yeah, I'm excited to get to play with you again and to be a part of this this Team Light adventure.
Yes. Oh, yes. We'll be meeting with the tribe. That's so beautiful. Physically, of course. We are always connected. It will be a lot of fun. So if you want to get your tickets, you can go to the website of teamlight.com and purchase your tickets. 17 and 19 of October, Dallas Bridge Expo. So there will be amazing speakers, like Barbara and Masati and Tone and Jean Charles, myself, Sandra, Moon, and and then I know Zach. Well, anyway, you can just enter to the website. We will be having a blast. We will be talking about what each one of us specializes on, and sharing it from a space of wholeness. From a space of wholeness, and actually to keep on planting seeds. Remember that you are the ones that actually make also this possible, because we all are doing a lot. We all are at different levels. So sharing with you it's always very beautiful. What can I say? Sharing about sharing with you, Barbara. Yeah. So let's make more magic, more alchemy.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so fun to get together with like-hearted people, because sometimes it feels like sometimes we're on our own and we're just, maybe we're the only one in the family or the only one in the group. That's like, it's just me. You're not alone. And so that's the one thing I love when we come together. We get to reconnect with each other and remember each other and really uplift. I think it's like, it ignites the fire to go, okay, this is okay. I'm not alone. And so we power together.
Yes, I agree. And thank you for bringing that up, because that's one of the most beautiful things that perhaps you come from a background, not you, or, in general, but you who are watching this transmission, perhaps you come from a background that you could hardly find yourself in your surrounding. And when you come to these events, it's everything but that, you expand because you are receiving such a coherent feedback from all the ones that are around you, because we are pure mirrors, not toxic mirrors that you need to unveil layers and layers in order to see what is connecting you to that person. No, this is like a clear mirror that is a very coherent one. So you expand a lot through these events. We all do. You know, it's like, and what would normally take you 1 year to evolve and to become aware of, it's in days, you know, and in a fun way. And they're like the ones that we are presenting are like a lot of richness in topics, not just about one thing, yet everything, of course, related to consciousness, you know, exploring your consciousness. And yeah, so very excited about that. There will be surprises, of course, like there are always with Team Life. And yeah, good ones, of course, very good ones.
Yeah. Well, and what you're saying, YssaH, too, is like, knowing, the founder of Team Light, we know Rion, and just knowing him for several years now, and Shauna, his partner, it's just the integrity and the heart that they put into this is just beyond measure. And I'm really honored to be a part of Team Light and be invited to this conference, because you're absolutely right. What sometimes takes months or years can happen so quickly, and you're like, all of a sudden these transformations start to change. So we activate each other through the heart as well. And so I'm just excited to get to see you again and to see everybody who's going to come out. And Dallas is going to be a really fun space as well. The hotel looks gorgeous from what I've seen online. I've never been there, but I'm excited to get to play with everybody.
Yeah, Rion mentioned something yesterday about the hotel, and he was very excited about it. So I will look for it, because now it's the second time, so it must be like the hotel. So yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, well, thank you everyone for watching this transmission. Thank you, Barbara, so much again. I think we will be sharing the space like this at some point again, you know, and yeah, like having you over again, you know, in another life, in another transmission. And
thank you for having me, and thank you for inviting me, and for holding that heart space, and just excited to see what happens in the future here. We're creating our future together, so it's cool. Thank you.
Yeah, it's very cool. Well, for you all, you know that the Full Disclosure Now conference, it's upcoming. It's around the corner next month in September. So you can still get your tickets if you want. You can actually go to the link in the description below this video. Also to the Alien event in Las Vegas in September. And as we mentioned, the one in Expo Bridge in Dallas. And very excited actually to be presenting, very grateful, and waiting to see you all there, and the upcoming trip to Mexico as well. If you want to join us, you can still join us. You better hurry up. Yeah, that's that the group is already coming together. So also, Barbara, if you have a space and you want to join us in Mexico, you're more than welcome.
We'll have to check that out. I'll have to see when. I'll look online to see what the dates are. That'd be fun.
Yes. Yeah, we will have a lot of fun. And there are surprises related to ET artifacts and so forth, you know, and going to very specific places involving ET contact. So
nice.
Yes. Well, you're in Sedona, so perhaps the Pink Lagoon is more new. It's newer for you, because in Sedona there is ET contact all the time. Okay. Well, okay. Talk to you soon. Love you.
Right, take care. Love you. Take care. Until next time.
Until next time.